Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second half of our Music Industry Occupations Roundtable today. This is the 9th annual Music Technology Advisory Board meeting, and there's been so many interesting conversations over the years that we thought we'd open it up to the public so that you could gain from the valuable insights that our panelists have to share with us. We'd like to start off with the panelists introducing themselves, please.
My name is Cynthia Scott. I'm in education. I work as a bridge between industry and education. I'm with what's called the Multimedia and Entertainment Initiative, which is a project out of the State Chancellor's Office that manages the community college system that you are in right now. And we are looking at the big picture of workforce training needs for the state of California. And in one niche of that would be audio, the audio element. So I'm here to talk about those issues.
I'm Jeff Monday from Apple Incorporated. I work with community colleges all over Southern California, and I am an account executive.
I'm Joe Kucera. I work at UC San Diego. I'm the chief engineer for the music department and the recording studio there.
My name's Rob Collier. I'm the assistant technical director at the California Center for the Arts Escondido and work with all aspects of technical theater, including audio.
Hi, I'm Donna Florin, the Director of Theater Operations with the California Center for the Arts Escondido. I supervise the backstage crews who oversee all of the technical elements, including audio.
My name is Wesley Switzer. I am a Berklee College of Music Boston alumni and touring and session recording bass player, and also just moved out here and opened Milestone Recording Studios, which is a mixing and mastering primarily facility in Los Angeles area.
Hello, my name is Vikas, and I'm a high school educator. I wrote the curriculum for recording arts at the high school level for the state of California, and I just have a passion for bringing music into youth's lives and helping them forge their way into the industry. That's it.
Good afternoon, my name is Mario Gonzalez. I'm a Miracosta faculty. I'm the director of the Miracosta Latin Jazz Orchestra. I'm also a producer, arranger, composer, Los Angeles studio musician also, and I play trumpet.
Hello, my name is Doug Moody, and I'm a record producer. I've been fortunate since being in America. Since 1953, I have 41 gold and platinum records, and I'm a leftover. I'm a leftover, started in the late 40s, and I'm 80-odd years old, so don't ask me too many modern questions.
I'm Jeff Linsky, and I'm a lifelong touring musician and also a composer.
Yeah.
I'm Johnny Vatos Hernandez. I played in a band called Oingo Boingo for years, and I'm alive and working in LA and studios and all that kind of stuff.
Hi, I'm Dave Morant. I'm the Director of Service Groups for Sony Computer Entertainment America. I manage the music and sound design groups for Sony PlayStation.
My name is Craig Zarkos. I am a session drummer. I mix records, do a little bit of this and that. I'm here with Procraft Media, new company for me, and we do design and integration of facilities like this, broadcast, recording facilities, performance facilities.
Hello, my name is Kevin Page. I've been a touring musician, professional musician for last 10 years. I also am Craig's business partner. We have a design and installation company of any pro media, audio, video, control systems, design, and implementation.
My name's Anthony Catalano. I'm a Pro Tools engineer and musician, and I freelance for various producers and MTV, VH1.
Hi, my name's John Pegler. I'm a Was a touring pro player most of my life, and more recently I've joined the ranks of the regular populace. A sales and marketing company working with some of the major manufacturers of music gear produced today, and we sell to retailers.
Oh. I'm Chilitos. I am a mixing and recording engineer. I run my own school, Pro Tools School, certification school in Los Angeles and Santa Monica. And I write books. I do all kinds of good stuff. So any questions on anything, just give me a call. Or call me. No, answer the question. I mean, ask me.
We have a new panelist up in the center of the table.
Hi, my name's Laura Perlman, and I'm a freelance music editor for films, and also an educator, composer, and musician.
We'd like to welcome our panel. Thank you. Wonderful panel. The object of this get-together today is to help shed light on employment in the music industry. And the first question I'm sure that everybody has is, what is the present music industry? How can we define it nowadays? Is it just performers?
We want to know.
Is it just people on stage with a microphone?
No, you know, I think it's when you get your first $5 for doing anything in this industry, you're now in the industry. You know, and everybody's talking about. It's funny when, you know, studio drummer / producer, we're all wearing many hats. So there's a lot of ways to make that first $5.
I think to be in any of the audio industries, you know, you've got to be able to hot swap what you do. You've got to be able to cover as many different topics as you can and know as much about the industry. I think you're very fortunate if you just find that one niche that is going to carry you through your career in music. You've really got to be able to wear many different hats depending on the day. Whether you're a session player who also becomes a producer, who also becomes the engineer, who also then takes that to the record companies. It's all of these things are what will make you have a career and open doors and opportunities.
I think the music industry has become much more democratic in that you don't have to know somebody to learn some of the skills. You can get a computer, you can get some microphones, you can get speakers, and you can start learning in whatever your skill level is, whatever things you're interested in, whether it's performing, you have a way to practice in your own house. And you can be from Minnesota or Podunk, wherever, and still get a pretty high level and a diverse set of skill sets so that when you get into the industry, you have a lot more experience than you bring with you than it used to be available to people.
Many people think that the industry is primarily entertainment. Is there another aspect to the industry that we don't know about?
Thousands of aspects. I mean, it's a huge industry, number one. I don't know what the latest stats are, but I know just in retail sales a couple of years ago, it was like $5 billion worth of sales in retail. So if you encompass everything with the whole of the music world, I mean, it's one of the biggest organizations on the planet. And to make it work is everyone from every walk of life to make it happen. One of the earlier guys that was here does a lot of organizes the tours for a lot of major rock bands, and we were talking earlier, 80 plus people on a tour for Fleetwood Mac, for instance. That's 80 people you've got to house, and you know, there's road managers and techs and physical therapists, and so I mean every aspect of life is encompassed in the industry. So if you want to be in the industry, don't just think, oh, I've got to play the guitar or a keyboard or blow a sax or something. There's 1,000 avenues to get into it, whatever your passion is.
Doug.
Thank you. Those of us who have grown in the industry over the past 50 years, like myself, wonder if there is an industry left, wonder where it's going, but about every 20 years, we're flattened. We're all broke. We're out of work. First of all, 78s went to 33 1/3, because I was around. And now we're going to digital, which none of us understand, but when I say, when the computer can say I love you and lick me like my dog, then I might get close to it. But the whole problem is we don't know where it's going. We only know that if you have any talent, if you have any go inside you at all, let it out. That's it. Go for it.
I'd like to add to that. I think one of the most important aspects to kind of realize right now where the music industry is at is that you up and coming and aspiring, producers, musicians, engineers, Pro Tools operators, is that we're in an era and a crossroads of our industry where it's kind of undefined as to what the future looks like. And so that's a great place for you guys to be. I mean, we can sit here and talk about the dire situation of the industry and whatnot, but again, I think we're at a moment in the industry where it's going to rebuild itself, and the young generation that's learning all this technology, that's being, pushing what they're doing and developing new ideas and being innovative with their concepts, are going to be the ones going to be emerging, the next 10 years from now, 15 years from now, as the innovators of this industry. So you guys, I'm excited for you guys, because we all have stories here that we can tell how we got in the industry and how we developed our concept and how we got in and whatnot. But it's exciting to know that you guys are a forum out here and are the next generation that are going to be developing all these great new ideas and concepts and softwares and doing things on a digital level. It's going to be phenomenal. So I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do. But again, I think it's going to be an absolute incredible amount of opportunity for the young aspiring producer, engineer, musician to make some really amazing innovations.
It was stated that there's 80 people on tour with a band that normally has 5 people. I'd like to know who those 80 people are.
Merch.
Merchandising?
Oh, yeah, merchandising. We got merchandising. We have business people that take care of all the per diems for the crew. Make sure that there's people that drive to hotels and check people in early. There's people that are just running up and down light poles, setting up lights. There's people knocking over and setting up sound equipment. There's if the star's really big enough to have their own chef, they got all that. They got to have people to wash the dishes. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous and a lot of fun. Just a true story, which is really cool. In Europe, I was on the road with Joe Cocker. We were opening up for him, and I would come in about 3 in the afternoon, and there'd be a guy sitting there smoking with ashes going into the Caesar salad, going, "You guys are gonna love this." So anyway. Yeah, so there's a big crew, and they got to do laundry and all that stuff.
Well, if I could also talk about that from the facility point of view, even though things are going digital and there's innovations that are happening that we may not even be aware of right now, there's still a very important people aspect to the music industry from our point of view. For instance, I kind of boast that no matter what happens, my job cannot get outsourced because I have to be on site with that show that day. They can't have somebody phoning it in from India. So that's a good aspect. The other thing is that there are numerous people who have to come together to even get the act into the theater. So whereas I employ stagehands who are carpenters, lighting people, audio, wardrobe, video, very big video aspect, of course, these days. There's also the people that my facility has to book the show. So they're out there reading Polestar or doing research on the internet to find out what kind of act is going to work well in a 1,500-seat theater in Escondido, California. So there's our booking people, and then on the other end of it, the band has their management and their booking people. So those are careers that maybe you want to think about too. If if you find out you have a good, skills in terms of paperwork and organization, there's that, as well as Even just people who read over contracts, believe me, there's an art to writing a contract and then negotiating that contract. Because even though a contract by name really, people think, well, it's hard and fast and you've got to follow it, it's actually just a starting point. So there's people who do nothing but negotiate contracts. And that's even before the tour hits my facility. So yes, digital, yes, software, all those innovations is still going to come down sometimes to two people on the phone saying, okay, do you want the green M&Ms in there or not? That kind of thing.
Craig.
Well, along the lines of that question, I would just encourage you to maybe set up a field trip and go to the sports arena, get there at 5 a.m. when the light crew gets there, and follow them through a day if you want to see everything that goes into a show, especially on a big tour. And it's actually a pretty neat experience to see how hard everybody works and how hard the support team works to get that show on at 7 o'clock at night. It's military precision. When you start talking these 20 semi shows and you've got a light crew rolling in the rig, building it on one side of the arena, sound crew, getting their stuff staged, and that 1 in the afternoon things go like this, literally with, the brawn of the stagehands. And then at 1 o'clock, the backline techs, every musician's got a backline tech on a big tour. There's a lot of times there's the Pro Tools guy, the tracks guy, and everything has to coalesce it. At 5 o'clock, it's sound check, and then it's dinner. There's a catering company. It's pretty darn impressive, and it takes all those people to make it happen, make it smooth.
And don't underestimate the value in knowing the other person's job.
Yeah.
If you can go out on a tour and tech guitars, tech drums, mix front of house, tour manage, anything to make yourself more valuable to the band or the artist, you're going to get on that tour quicker. You're going to get on the tour with that band earlier in their career. And if they do blow up, they do make it, they're, you're their guy or girl. And, that is infinitely valuable. Learn how to make microphone cables. There's a lot of people that don't have a clue. So,
Chris.
Yeah, in addition to everything that we're all talking about as far as what's happening on site, there's a pretty significant team of people in the back office that are doing the pre-production and the design and the organization, as everything from booking flights, transportation, hotels, all this stuff just to get the people to the destination, booking the tour, getting the venue, promoting, working with radio stations. That's a whole nother aspect of a performance, just like making a record. You make the record, then you have to have the people get it in the stores, get it on the radio, get it on the internet, all the promotional aspects of it. So there's a whole nother aspect to the industry where there's a lot of great opportunities for people. Maybe you're more interested in being a tour, not necessarily a tour manager, you might be a promoter, for example, or get into promotion, which isn't the team that's with the band. You're maybe working with several bands and working with several venues and kind of connecting all the pieces. So there's that aspect of this as well. It's quite large.
Laura.
There's also a whole world which hasn't been brought up yet of film, which has film music, film sound. And that's a whole avenue of jobs, from the composer, the composer's assistants, the composer's cable person, everything that happens in the studio. For the composer, aside from the 120 musicians that play in the studio and all the people that record that, music editor, music editing assistants, there's a whole world in the film world that's just pertaining to music, which is a whole avenue of jobs which aren't often remembered or thought of. And it's, really a good way to be around music, a part of music, and a big avenue where people can still get started and work their way up. And it's a great learning, I think, experience, and a great opportunity for students to maybe get some apprentice or internships at places like that as well.
This is very valuable information. However, it sounds so technical and so rigorous. What would you offer to a creative type who wants to break into the music industry, who doesn't necessarily have the aptitude or ability to be on a stage? Because
I'm going to answer your question, and it relates to what's already been said. I don't know if this is on, but I think you can hear me. I think nothing exists by itself. Even fruit doesn't grow on a tree by itself. You have to cultivate it and grow it. And if you take any single product and look at it and trace it back to where it started, then you become aware of all the jobs that were involved. So even if we talk about record producing, someone has to press that plastic, you need a plastic supplier. So if you trace any single product, you'll automatically begin to become aware of all the different occupations that could be involved in that process. In doing so, I think every industry has some things that stay the same, things that are added to that now become the same, which now will be added to permanently to that industry, and things which change. If you're going to look at the industry and add yourself to what's already being done, you have to be able to do it either better than it's already being done, or there has to be not enough people to do the job, so then there's a need for you. But as the industry and the technology and all this stuff changes, keeping what stuff also stays the same as it changes, and new pieces come into play, and you look at your product or you look at a process, whether it's film, live concert, or how you purchase a CD online, you'll notice there's some things that are missing. So if you critically look at every process and ask yourself, not only what's being done, but what isn't being done? Why am I not able to purchase this CD off this artist's website efficiently with this credit card right now? Then it becomes, as an entrepreneur, you find new and innovative ideas by looking at what's not being done in those gaps, by taking the product, tracing it back, and looking in the loopholes and saying, this is what stuff's being done, and this is what's not being done. And when you have an innovative idea, that's also another way to enter the market from an entrepreneurial perspective.
Where do we gain these skills to be able to be an entrepreneur?
Maybe
Please,
not to
Dave.
answer that question directly, but pardon me. You know, my advice would be, as a student, as you're first hitting the world, follow your passion. You know, a lot of you will be really passionate about what you do. And I know as I was growing up as a musician, as a bass player, I followed what I wanted to do, and regardless of anything else. But what I did keep my eyes open to was other opportunities as I went along. I mean, I was fortunate to play in bands and be small-time successful in what I did. But what I did is I kept my eyes open and I looked at the computer industry, the video game industry, and I was prepared to be able to swap and write music and create sound design for a different industry. I think that fundamentally, if you don't follow your passion, while you have that energy as you're young, then you'll lose something. If it's, whether it's, as Chris said, it's managing bands or it's doing wherever it may be, just make sure you spend that time while you have it following it. And never keep your eyes closed to opportunities. I always had this dream of playing with Prince by the time I was like 26, and I'd be on the road and I'd be having big fun. Well, guess what? Prince wasn't banging the door down to find me. So I changed what I did and stayed within the industry and was still creative. And I think that's the thing you always have to bear in mind.
What is this crossover of when you're doing your dream and you realize that you need to move over to something else? When did that happen?
For me, it was when I was about 28, 29. I was starting a family, and it was, other pressures applied. That's why I'm saying when you're young, you've got freedom, and it's unlimited. You can stay up till 4 in the morning in the studio and do demos and do whatever it takes to cut those tracks. At that age, when I was 28, 29, I was like, I'm too freaking tired to be doing this. I need to get home and see the family. So then it was just a case of balancing, and that's what really drove me to find something else, but I still wanted to be in this industry.
Stephen.
I just wanted to say, if you're a creative type, and oftentimes you're not going to be up front because you're going to be creating something for someone else to do. Maybe you're a composer or an arranger, or you're going to lay down music to be supported. A lot of times if you're creative, you're not very good at other aspects, especially the business aspects. I mean, you all know really creative people who sort of live on another planet. And if you're one of those kind of people, you want to partner with many of these jobs that everybody's talking about down here. There are probably The support people are probably more numerous than the creative people. And if you have real originality, you could be rare in the industry, but you're going to need somebody to help you stay focused and represent you and do those kinds of things. In fact, I've read somewhere for every creative person that's in the industry there, and if they're making money, there's like 9 or 10 people around to support them because they need help.
Interesting.
Chilitos.
Talking about the entrepreneurial situation, that people get. Talking to my own experience, when I was working on as an audio, audio engineer, meaning like designing. I was working at that time on the ADAT. I was one of the designers of the ADAT for Alice's. I remember my boss asking me that day, one morning, says, I was at A&M Records last night. I was working with Julio Iglesias because he saw I was Latin. So, he said, you must be interested. Of course, I love the Beatles, not, you know what I mean? So and he told me, Humberto Gatica was doing the session. And Humberto Gatica, maybe you may know about him. He was in the late 70s, 80s, the engineer for David Foster. And he was every Latin guy's idol, dream. So I asked him, hey man, can I go tomorrow, to the session? I said, I don't know, let me ask. Thing is, he said, what were you doing there anyway? I asked him, we both worked at Overhead in those days. And he says, I was programming synthesizer for those guys. And I was making $75 an hour. So, wow. I want to make them much amount of money, what do you do? Nothing really. They just didn't call me. We were sitting there like waiting until, they didn't call us. So they still got paid. 2 days later, I thought about it. I said, God, here I am. I want to be in that studio. I want to be in A&M Records. I want to be the engineer. Because the musician dream wasn't that anymore. Like, that was the crossover for me. The thing is that I said, what can I do in talking about creativity? Of trying to get in the business, because at that time I was a nobody, not